And welcome back to yes, I said that on WCOBM.com right here in Hollywood, California. Fun in the sun in Hollywood. That's what it's all about. The city of angels where dreams come true. Or not. Welcome back to my lovely Alicia and Dr. Kent, and I'm so grateful to have them here. And you know, I was just fortunate enough to be given this because I'm actually one of their patients and legally able to take this, and I have headaches, so I'm going to take it. And Alicia is going to actually show us here on the air how to dose with the trophy. Right?
Okay.
Is that okay?
So, at home, all you really need is a knife and a cutting board. It's kind of like a paraffin or wax material, and so it's designed to just be cut up into a quarter. The grids are already there. If you can just tear it since we don't have a knife.
Right, me, because I'm an old pro at it, I really just go like that.
She's a
pro.
Don't
do that at home.
Place it between cheek and gum.
Down here or up there?
Upper's better than lower. Remember, we don't want to create that saliva.
See, I've been doing it wrong all along, so I bet it's going to work even better now.
It will, because it'll take longer to dissolve.
Yep, and when it takes longer to dissolve, you're going to absorb more, and it's going to irritate the back of your throat less.
So one of the things one of the users here are asking is, how do I know which cannabinoid to use for my illness?
That's a good question.
I think that's a great question. I think a lot of people at home probably have a lot of illnesses that they want to have a lot of symptom management. Cannabis is great for that. I know with our pure CBD troche, we are using that for epilepsy patients. So it's anti-epileptic, it's anti-spasmodic. So for our irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, and colitis patients, they can really benefit from that. It's also anti-anxiety. It's really potent, relaxing, anti-inflammatory. CBD has been given credit for many, many things. But there isn't, with cannabis, there isn't a one-size-fits-all. Right, Dr. Kent?
It's really a complex adaptogenic herb.
What?
Yep, adaptogenic herb.
Adaptogenic herb.
Adaptogens are from plant sources, are complex, products. Cannabis has hundreds of active chemical compounds in it, and we have an endocannabinoid system. Every cell in our body makes endocannabinoids.
Really?
That's a cannabinoid. An andamide is, one, 2-AG is another. So we have a system set up to recognize these cannabinoids, and when we call it an adaptogenic herb, it's that giving the body the yin and the yang of the plant, the ability to select the parts that it needs and apply it to our system so that our body can heal itself.
So basically, the cannabinoids and the cannabis plant and the endocannabinoid system and the human body is basically a marriage of health and wellness made in heaven, given to us here on earth.
Yeah, basically. And I think what Dr. Kent's saying is it's really important to understand that what works for one person, just like any other medication, doesn't work for another. So you really got to keep trying. If you've tried CBD and it didn't help control your pain, move on to a 1-to-1 ratio, move to a high THC based troche, keep trying, because everybody's different.
Right, you never want to give up. There is always something that is going to be disease state modifying with cannabis. It's such a wonderful herb, and it's such a crime at how I wasn't taught about it in medical school. When I went to UCSF, we were taught that we couldn't even regenerate a nerve or a hepatocyte. All of this stuff is wrong. We can rewire our body. Cannabis protects and helps regenerate our nerves.
So it's a neuroprotectant.
It's very much so.
Wow.
So when we look at things like the 1-to-1 troche, Sativex is a pharmaceutical product available in over 23 countries in the world to treat MS and things like end-stage cancer pain.
Right.
It's used, it's currently in phase 3 clinical studies in the U.S., and it is again, a hugely valuable medicinal sourced
I mean, it's
pharmaceutical.
it's approved by GW Pharma over there.
They're the manufacturer.
Yeah,
but
so
the governments in those countries, like the FDA here in the U.S., have blessed it, demonstrating that there's good safety data and there's good efficacy data showing that it does help disease states.
Well, the government does hold the patent on cannabis, and Sanjay Gupta did say something about us being erroneously misled right here in the United States about the medicinal benefits of cannabis, and that it's not anecdotal, I think is the word, that it's...
Well, there's less than 10 medical schools currently in the U.S. that teach the endocannabinoid system.
Right.
One of the wonderful things that has happened, like in Connecticut, where their state process to legalize medical marijuana, it's forced it into the hands of pharmacists. Unlike California, where there's been a disconnect of the physician and the patient, they're able to actually have that connection, keep it there.
Right.
And it's really a lot of these laws that are happening. They're happening at the expense of patients that truly need this medication. So it's so important that we educate everyone and to understand that cannabis really has a lot of medicinal values. And with troche, there really is a troche for everyone because, you know, we all have different needs and everyone's bodies are different. And with the 1-to-1, like Dr. Kent said, we were treating a lot of MS patients and they're finding tremendous relief from our 1-to-1. We're also using the 1-to-1 for, you know, pain relief during the day. We know a lot of highly successful business people that are functioning on a 1-to-1 ratio, and it's that ratio that just allows them to function, to do their job, and that CBD to relax them and lower to the effects of that THC.
I get many comments that it actually helps their creative process in their work, whether it's dealing with running large multinational corporations or it's being the artist.
I can definitely say that it does help me with my creative endeavors. Yes.
And that whole self-love. I mean, cannabis does open up your mind to kind of heal some trauma and kind of heal yourself. So it has many therapeutic benefits. Also for treating addiction, it can be very useful. With our high THC troche, we also have potent CBD-rich cannabinoids inside that. So it's a very, very medicinal blend, and that is a potent pain reliever. And that is most useful for our patients at night. They can medicate at night while they sleep. Very little psychoactivity because they're sleeping, and those medicinal effects can carry on into the next day because that half-life, right, Dr. Kent? It's just different. It extends into the body.
Well, as you use this adaptogenic herb in whatever form you're using it in, it is a cumulative effect, and it has a long-range impact on both inflammation and immune function.
Wow.
I'm going to get back to what Alicia said because I'm very interested in the idea of cannabis or CBD helping with addiction, as I used to work in that field. So that is actually something I personally want to research, but we're not going to take Troche's time up to talk about that.
Well, it's incredibly useful if you know a loved one that's struggling with addiction, opiate, narcotic addiction. Our heart goes out to them because, of course, they're truly in pain and they are physically addicted and dependent on these substances. And so visit troche.com and see how we can get a store to find out how we can add cannabis to their regimen and hopefully slowly, with the help of their physician, get off some of those really dangerous narcotics that have been in the news nowadays.
We've seen a reduction in opiate use for a patient in pain taking opiates when they include cannabis from 30% all the way to 100%. They're completely off of cannabis.
We're about to go to a word from our sponsors.
Or excuse
you guys,
me, off of narcotics.
We have in a second. We're going to break to our sponsors, but I do want to touch on that because I did choose. I don't use opiates because I have an addiction past, and cannabis is what I've used for my pain,
Right.
and it's helped greatly. So, you know, Yeah, we're gonna touch on that as well. We're gonna
Exciting.
go to a word from my sponsors. We're at wcobm.com in